those shoes and I will wear that dress. Oh, kiss me beneath the milky twilight. Lead me out on the moonlit floor.
And just like that, my 27th year as a Spurs fan, aka Tankathon 1.75 for me, and in reality, Tankathon 2.0 is officially in the books. I am so glad I did not fully invest into this whole season, because it would have been more frustrating, more frustrating, depressing, and stressful if I did. Because from the first half of the season opener against the Mavericks away, which was Wemby and World NBA debut, and then the two Cleveland games against Cleveland, the first one here in Kerry Metters, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Gordon, Devin Vassell, 24th birthday, when I met my boy Shaquille Williams, who was getting my section all hyped up, and one of my real life friends, Julie Kristen, was in that same section, so I'm pretty sure she had a front row seat to all that. And they played Hip Hop Hooray by Naughty by Nature from NBA Live 2000, which got me all hyped up, since the Spurs were like fighting to stay in the game after remember how they were leading that game early. And of course, unlike Duncan Spurs, these modern Spurs don't know how to hold a lead. But even when Duncan Spurs blew leads, they always found a way to make up for it 95% of the time. These modern Spurs have done it before, but they haven't done it. They don't do it consistently enough, so they need a little bit more work. And every time they're down by a lot of deficits, even if whether they lead or beforehand or not, they usually. The comebacks that come behind victory, that come from behind efforts, or most of the time they never get over the hump. But Friday night, when Devontae Graham hit that game winner, they actually did for once when I was watching. So it looked like the Spurs evolved with Tim Duncan. But the two Cleveland games with Shaquille Williams and Julie Kristen, where Sohan almost won us that game on a full court buzzer beater. And, Kerry Metters, Jeff Gordon, Devin Vassell, 24th birthday. My San Antonio trip is for version 2 of that same game, but it was in San Antonio where the crowd was in their favor, and I got to boo the Cavs with no repercussions for the first time in 27 years as a fan, even though that was a blowout compared to the first one again in Cleveland here against the Cavs here in Ohio, where it was a tight match. It was a neck and neck battle. The only thing exciting about that one was when we got a fight with 20 seconds left in the game, where Zach Attack and wannabe Kyle and Adam Petty gave us the Booty Barker action from The Price is Right. We had those two games, and then the rest of the season that I was able to watch for my sister's birthday, when Jaren Jackson Jr. used lessons learned from his father to spoil the party on my sister's Mike Wallace or Antonio Daniels, Boris Diaw, Trey Jones' 33rd birthday. And then all the way up to discovering there's another wannabe Matt Bonner on the team. Like, who the fuck is Jamare Boy, how the fuck his name is? I remember getting pissed about it on Facebook, but I don't really care anymore. But even though we sucked all year, and the fact that I only caught 1 3/4 of the season, this turned out to be a little bit more fun than the previous two. Not last season, outside of the Cleveland game here in Ohio that we met Beth Regali, but the 2 years prior to that, that was not. At least this was a good bad season. This was a good season where we sucked. Because last year, of course, we know was not interesting, even though I took the year off, which is how we got Wemby today. But the previous 2 years before that, for the most part, wasn't interesting. Like, the first half of 21-22 wasn't interesting. But then the moment I stepped away to take a break because of how frustrated and angry I got, we went on a tear. So therefore, we had to finish it. We had to come back to finish it. And the first game back that season, as you all know, was against the Grizzlies. And that's like my first game back for the Tankathon 1.75 was the Grizzlies. And Spurs. Guess what was the outcome like in 2022? The Spurs lost. Spurs lost against the Grizzlies. But what was the last game of 21-22 on my Welo's birthday, before I took some time off before I ended up finishing that season against the Grizzlies, even though it was in Memphis, and what was the final outcome of the Spurs? They lost. Now you don't have to look it up because we already did. It's crazy how it works sometimes, And then the season before, 2021, that was interesting in the first half because we started off so well. But then after the the game against the Hornets before on in Charlotte during the rodeo road trip a day before my Kirk Shermerdine 27th birthday, and when we watched that game during that Daytona 500 rain delay, and then the team, over half the team caught COVID, and so their first. That was when we almost did not make the Cleveland game that year in 2021 because we were supposed to go. I don't think we would have gone regardless if it got postponed or not. We were close to not going, whether we couldn't score tickets that year or the fact that COVID postponed it. But that COVID postponement was a blessing in disguise because you know why? Because my mom was able to somehow score tickets. I don't know how my mom and dad did it, but we managed to keep the streak alive then, and the Spurs won that one. That was the last Spurs-Cavs in a game here in Ohio that they won. So, therefore, for my sister's birthday all the way up today, it was a fun joyride, even though it was for 1 3/4. It was a fun 1 3/4 joyride. So, next year will be my 28th year as a fan. So, therefore, this one's not as ranty or as angry or negative or upsetting as the previous, final thoughts video as it was in 21, 22, and 2021. This is actually more positive because Wemby made it made it like less, negative than compared to the previous 2 years, before last year. So, therefore, I'm glad Wemby gave me something to be somewhat semi-happy about. So, therefore, I look forward to seeing what new friends we're going to get for him next year. So, who's going to stay? Who's going to leave? My dream scenario is that we keep Zach Attack. Well, prayers to him for speedy recovery because he was playing good today until that shoulder injury. So, it's bad enough that he had a serious ankle injury, which, postponed his, Spurs debut until like midway through that 21-22 season. Remember the whole shit Banks debacle, how Jock should have been getting his minutes and all that stuff. Yeah, that was a hell of a time to be alive. But, hopefully this is not as severe, egregiously bad as that one. The shoulder isn't, this is that severe, egregiously bad as the ankle was back in his, Portland days, when he was going from there to San Antonio. So prayers up for speedy recovery. I want to keep him. I don't even care who was my favorite then. I still want to keep him because he was playing good towards the end of the season until his injury today. I want to keep Mamu and Devontae definitely. I don't have to say him because we know, but I want to keep Mamu as well because and of course Trey, but I don't know if Trey is going to stay or not if we draft an elite point guard to go alongside Wemby. Because guess what? If we do, the best case scenario in drafting an elite point guard but still keeping Trey is by having Trey come off the bench next year. We'll just have to wait and see what Brian Wright and Pop in the front office do. But as far as speaking of Brian Wright and Pop in the front office, do these fuckers ever learn? Again, they did not they again let some wannabe, they let some, no-name rookie that nobody fucking knows who they are ended up taking Bonner's numbers. Like, can you guys disallow the 15, the 8, and the 31 from ever being used again for a long enough period of time? That way we can put the Red Rocket, Patty and Malik in the rafters like they deserve. But people are saying, "Ooh, but I doubt that's ever going to happen." Well, guess what? I've seen, players worse than those three get their jersey retired. Nick Collison of the Seattle Supersonics, Oklahoma City Thunder, and then go, but there's a difference between the Thunder and the Spurs. Yeah, no shit. Because the only difference is that, Malik Rose, Matt Bonner, and Patty Mills over the years contributed to championship-winning teams in San Antonio, while Nick Collison did not do that in Seattle OKC. End of story. So, therefore, those three had a bigger impact in San Antonio than Nick Collison had in Seattle OKC. So, therefore, the Brian Wright Pop in the front office better think about it. Get their heads out of their asses. Stop assigning 15 or 31 to these, random players, whether vets or rookies. And so help me God, if they assign 8, so we pick up somebody new, whether it be a veteran or like a young gun, they give them 8, I'm literally going to shoot myself. But we'll save that full-on rant for another day, another video. But there'll be no race review tonight because I was going to do the original game plan was I was going to do the race review tonight in the Spurs, 2023-24 final stuff, the season final thoughts video tomorrow. But since we decided to go outside and see our friends, midway through the race, after the Spurs game ended, we're not going to do that. But the moment I step away, the race becomes a crash fest. All hell breaks loose and, chaos, ensues. But I guess I was just that bad luck. I mean, even though chaos was going on while I was watching and flipping back and forth between racing the game, but it got worse the moment I stepped out of the house. So therefore, sometime this week we're going to be doing stream testing to make sure the sound works. That way we do not have the same problem during the Aaron's 499 stream at Talladega. So, and the reason why I muted the mic when I did, and I'll tell you what happened. Because when my mom needed a favor from me, so I had to step away for a little bit. So in order to avoid, in order to avoid what happened to me during the Daytona 500 stream from happening again, I muted the microphone, and then I turned off the TV to at the same time avoid the wrath of the bozo ass copyright bastards. I come back, turn the TV back on, unmute the mic, but I guess the mic didn't unmute itself. So we're gonna have to do some test runs just to make sure this works before we get ready to go for the Aaron's 499 stream. Since this is gonna be somewhat nice tomorrow and Tuesday, we're gonna step outside after work and we'll try to sneak some Spring is in the Air content in. We're gonna try, but I'm not going to promise you anything that I will. I'm not going to promise you that because, Wednesday it's supposed to rain on and off. Thursday is supposed to be meh. But Friday through Sunday for Aaron's Dream Weekend, yeah, it's going to be cold again. So, but don't forget, Friday, we got the basketball spring basketball tournament, which is the nation's last basketball game of the 23-24 season. So, and, Saturday we got, January, February, March, we got Season 3, Episode 4 Poker Game Night the next day, and then the Aaron's 499 at Talladega the day after. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. And to Wembenyama, Zach Attack, Trey, and now as of, this whole past week, this weekend, Mamu and Devontae. Thank you all for making my 27 years a fan a damn somewhat good one, even with our horrible record. I'm sure Wemby will get Rookie of the Year, regardless of his team being bad. So it's not like it matters anyway, like the All-Star game, where the reason why Wemby didn't get put in the All-Star game, despite getting a shitload of votes, because, his team's losing record is what penalizes him. But Rookie of the Year, I guess it doesn't matter, because I've seen, good rookies on bad teams get Rookie of the Year before, so it's possible. But either way, I will see you all for the next video, whenever that might be, and which might be tomorrow going into Tuesday, or just tomorrow, or just Tuesday, or both. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I figure it out one way or another. And then, of course, we got the YouTube crossover, another YouTube crossover coming soon on one of my real-life friends' channel, Cat Step, a.k.a. Eerie Night, so be on the lookout for that. But I need to get the fuck out of here and just quit rambling and making this video and outro longer than it needs to be. So until next year for my 28th season as a Spurs fan, Oliveris out. See you later, everyone. Go Spurs, bitch. Oh, mama.